Welcome to Ireland and Northern Ireland, a land where ancient echoes whisper across rolling hills, where the voices of common people through centuries still shape the spirit of this island. Our tour led us through the complex history of this famously distinctive country, and we gained a deep appreciation for Irish culture. We begin our history well before the 8th century CE at sacred sites that stand as testaments to Ireland's earliest pagan civilizations. From 5,500 years ago in the north, the Creevy Keel Court tomb stands as a testament to Neolithic ingenuity and reverence. And in the west, the ancient Polnabrone Dolmen continued to awe those who lived near it through every era. 200 years later in the east, the Hill of Tara, once the seat of the High Kings of Ireland, began to whisper stories of pagan rituals and royal ceremonies. Not far away, the megalithic Noath and Newgrange burial mounds, older than the pyramids, align with celestial events, linking the living and the dead across time. Saint Patrick famously brought Christianity to Ireland in the 5th century. By the 8th century, monastic life flourished, producing illuminated manuscripts like the Book of Kells, which is a masterpiece of Celtic art. The Grianan of Ailíc, an ancient stone fort, crowns Donegal's hills with panoramic views. "600 years later, the humble yet resilient Gallerus Oratory stands as a silent stone prayer. Norman lords confiscated large tracts of land in the 12th century and imposed feudal-style estates, displacing Gaelic chiefs and landholding systems. Dublin Castle became the seat of government. At Grey Abbey in County Down, Cistercian monks practiced simplicity and labor, shaping spiritual and agrarian traditions. Donegal Castle, home to the O'Donnells in the 15th century, reflects the lives of both lords and commoners who served them. Lamanna Castle tells tales of fierce Irish women and turbulent clan battles. In the south, Ross Castle is typical of the 16th century fortified homes of Irish chieftains, featuring battlements, narrow slit windows, and a strategic lakeside position. During the early 17th century, English and Scottish Protestant settlers colonized Catholic Ulster. During this plantation, Norman lords confiscated large tracts of land and imposed feudal-style estates, displacing Gaelic chiefs, creating a lasting sectarian divide. The 18th century Westport House, built on the foundations of a pirate queen stronghold, later became a grand estate reflecting both aristocratic ambition and the evolving role of estate workers over generations. Further west, Mount Stewart would later rise in grandeur, but its surrounding lands saw the toil of farmers and tenants for centuries. The 19th century Kylemore Castle, nestled in the Connemara Mountains, later became a haven for Benedictine nuns fleeing war, but its story also traces the fortunes of Irish landlords and laborers. The potato famine of the mid-19th centuries devastated the population. Hunger, forced emigration, and 1 million deaths marked this dark chapter. The National Famine Monument at Murrisk mourns them with ghostly bronze figures. In the early 20th century, after 8 years of fighting for independence from British rule, Ireland was split into 2 governments with 6 Protestant counties in the north and the remaining counties in the south, which later became the Republic of Ireland. Through Norman invasions, English rule, rebellions, and land confiscations, Ireland's common people endured. They tilled the land, kept their language alive, preserved song, and held tight to family and faith. Ireland's literary contribution is profound and enduring. Its tradition is inseparable from its political, religious, and cultural struggles. We visited Carey Writer's Museum, a restored 19th century Georgian townhouse that brings to life the works of North Kerry literary greats using music and storytelling. Dublin today pulses with energy, art, and intellect. Trinity College gleams with history, housing the ornate Book of Kells. Nearby, Dublin Castle stands where British governance once ruled and Irish independence was born. The Garden of Remembrance is a tribute to all who fought for Irish self-determination, regardless of political affiliation. In Belfast, Northern Ireland, the legacy of the Troubles, 3 decades of sectarian violence, still lingers. Communities once divided by conflict are now stitched together by remembrance and resilience. We rode black taxis through the Troubles neighborhoods with drivers whom had grown up in those times. The Felons Club, once a meeting place for Republican ex-prisoners, is now part of a complex tapestry of political and social memory. Here we met with 3 survivors of the Troubles and learned about their personal experiences and their outlook for their children. The peace walls, originally erected to separate neighborhoods, still stand. Peace murals chronicle both hope and grief, while peace gates close at night, a reminder that the past is not forgotten. A peace accord was signed in 1998 by Northern Ireland, the Irish government, and the UK. The border remained, but it became effectively invisible. Belfast is a city reborn. The Titanic experience honors innovation and tragedy. Queen's University and the Botanical Gardens bloom with scholarship and serenity. The Parliament buildings at Stormont represent hard-earned self-governance. In Derry, the Free Derry Museum offers sobering insights into the Troubles, civil rights, and the lived experience of local communities. Today, Derry hosts tourism and music festivals. Ireland's soul also lives in its landscapes. From coastlines to cliffs, the island dazzles visitors with natural beauty. At Donaghadee Harbor, boats bob in gentle waters under candy-colored skies. The Giant's Causeway, with its basalt columns, stirs myths of giants and science alike. The dramatic Slieve Cliffs plunge into the Atlantic, dwarfing even the famed Cliffs of Moher. Inland, Killary Fjord carves a glacial path between majestic peaks. At a sheep farm, we witnessed an astonishing demonstration of a skilled border collie working to control the animals. On Inishir, one of the Aran Islands, time slows among stone walls and white ponies. Carved by millions of years of erosion, the Cliffs of Moher showcase layers of shale and sandstone. They're home to an array of bird life, including puffins and razorbills. The Dingle Peninsula curves along the western edge of Europe, a wild stretch of language, song, and surf. In Killarney National Park and the Ring of Kerry, ancient oak forests, placid lakes and roaming deer whisper of old Ireland untouched. And on a quiet farm, apple trees blossom. Their fruit carries no politics, no sorrow, just the crisp taste of renewal. Ireland and Northern Ireland, where past and present walk hand in hand, and the story of the common people continues to grow like the apple orchards, deep-rooted, enduring, and ever reaching for the light.